I think I have a Chick-fil-A addiction. Hey everybody, my name is Asia and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the books that I want to get to this summer. This is mostly for July, August, maybe early September. These are books that I really are hoping to get to this year. Before we get into the video, I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement, and there's going to be some of my favorite Black booktubers down there. The videos from Black booktubers, ways to educate yourself, petitions, ways to donate. I'm going to keep putting this in my videos, so check the description box if you want resources. This is only the beginning and we need to keep moving forward. We need to keep talking about it. That's the only way that we're going to make change, is through talking about it and through keep signing petitions, keep donating. It's very important. So I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that before I talk about the books I want to read this summer. So this is Editing Deja popping in. Sorry if you can hear some birds. I just wanted to let you guys know before the video that I filmed like 5 videos this day, and this is the last one that I filmed, so I do say and like a lot, and I had to make a lot of cuts, but I still wanted to get this video up for you guys. The lighting's also kind of terrible because sometimes the sun comes out and it made me really yellow and bright. And just get ready because my next videos are going to be popping, so don't let this deter you because the next videos, they're going to be good, I promise. So I think I have like 21 books here. So the first book that I want to read this summer is Obsidian by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I love this series so much. The first 2 books literally are amazing and they blew my mind, and so I really need to pick up the last one because I need to know what happens. I need to know how everything finishes, and I just love this series so much. So the Illuminate Files series is kind of hard to explain. It's about this planet that gets invaded and the survivors go onto these ships and try and run away, but they're still being chased by the people that invaded their planet. And it's about these 2 teenagers, a boy and a girl, who just broke up. They have to communicate from 2 different ships about like what's going on and why they were attacked, and each book follows a different couple. And the second book, the characters were so amazing, and I'm super excited to see how the series wraps up. The next book that I really want to read is The Troop by Nick Cutter. Everybody's been talking about this book. The first person I heard talk about this book was Natasha from My Reading is Odd, and she really liked this book. And then Gabby from Gabby Reads loved this book, and a whole bunch of booktubers picked it up. And this book I know is really gonna gross me out, and I know I'm gonna hate it, but I'm gonna love it at the same time. And I think this will be perfect for summer because it's about these basically like Boy Scouts that go to this island, and there's like this man that's kind of like zombie like, and it's kind of like a spreading of a disease. I know that it's super gross, but I think it'll be like a perfect horror novel for the summer. So the next book I want to read this summer is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I read With the Fire and High by Elizabeth Acevedo last year, and I really enjoyed it. The characters were amazing. I loved the writing, I loved the story, and so Clap When You Land is her newest book. It's about these 2 girls that are sisters, and they never met each other, they don't know each other, and their father suddenly dies in a plane crash, and they live in 2 different areas, but they come together over their father's death. And I just really want to read more Elizabeth Acevedo because I really love her writing and her characters, and I've only heard good things about it. It has like over a 4.4 on Goodreads right now, so I really think that it's going to be a good one. The next book that I want to read is Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James, and I don't really know that much about this book. I was just looking up more things written by Black authors because I noticed that even though I am Black myself, this year I have not really read diversely. I've just been picking up what I've been picking up, and I really want to work on that as well. And I did see someone talk about this book. I can't remember who because I literally watched so many booktube videos. This book I also heard is kind of like the African version of Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones, so anything like that I want to read. And I know there's a lot of mythology and things like that incorporated in this, so I'm super excited to get into this book and see what it's about. Even though it's literally huge, it's almost 700 pages. Any book that's over like, if you're like 500 pages and above, like you're like big to me. But I do read big books, just like not like a ton. But I think this book will be really good, and I'm excited to pick it up. So the next book that I want to pick up is The Southern Book Club Sky to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So this book was getting hyped like a month ago when it first came out, and so I picked it up and I really want to get to it. I've heard really good things about Grady Hendrix. I also really want to read My Best Friend's Exorcism, so if I read this and love it, I might pick that one up this summer as well because I own it. This takes place in Charleston, South Carolina, and there's a book club, and in their neighborhood a man moves in and like he starts doing weird things. I think he joins their book club, and I'm assuming that he's a vampire, and chaos kind of ensues from there. And I've been hearing such good things about this book, and it just really intrigues me because vampires are starting to become really popular again, and I'm excited because I never really was on that vampire train. I feel like I was a little bit too young to read the vampire books, and then by the time I started reading like young adult, I was more into like dystopians at that time. So I'm really excited to read this, and I heard that it's like moderately scary, and I've been looking for more horror to read. So the next book that I want to read is Girls of Storm and Shadow by Natasha Nyong. And this book is the sequel to Girls of Paper and Fire, which I read last year, and I loved it. It was so good. It has LGBTQIA rep in it. There is a sapphic romance in it. So if you're into that, I definitely recommend Girls of Paper and Fire. Girls of Paper and Fire is this fantasy where there's basically like 3 different tiers of people, and the top tier is like full demons, the middle tier is like half demon, like mix. The last tier is the paper tier, and that is humans. And so the king of this world, I guess, or like this nation, is a demon, and every single year he takes paper girls, and our main character gets chosen to be one of his paper girls, which are basically like his concubines. He just kind of like does what he wants with them, and they get trained to be his concubines, and they're all humans, they're all paper casts, and there's a sapphic romance, and it's really good, and the ending was very intense, so I'm really excited to see what this book has. And the cover is so beautiful, definitely with the sprayed edges, and I really just want to get back into this world because the atmosphere I felt in this world was so amazing. And this book I feel like is going to be very different from the first book. I think it's going to be a lot more action packed, and there's going to be more romance in it, so I'm excited for that as well. So the next book that I really want to read is The Henna Wars, which I've been hearing a good bit about this book recently, and it's about these 2 girls. One is a Muslim, and she comes out to her family, and they're not really accepting of her being a lesbian, but she doesn't want to be in the closet, but she also doesn't really, like, she cares about her family, and she wants to have a relationship with them. And so I know this book focuses a lot on that, as well as there's kind of like these 2 girls that are enemies, and the school competition, the students have to make their own business. They both decide to create henna businesses, so it's kind of like hate to love, like competition romance. And so I'm just really excited, and I think it's gonna be really cute. I think we definitely need more Muslim representation, so I'm definitely excited to see that because I don't think I've read a book with a Muslim main character, and so I'm really excited to see the representation in this book. So the next book I'm really excited to read is 13 by Steve Kavanaugh, and this book sounds so interesting, and Molly from Mind of Molly, she's an amazing human. I love her. She's literally so cute, and she has such amazing thoughts and opinions. I'll make sure to link her channel down below. Like, if you aren't subscribed to her, I would really highly recommend her channel. I bought her a copy of this book, and we are hopefully gonna buddy read it. All I really know about it is there is a trial going on for the series of murders done by a serial killer, and this guy is obviously being charged with these murders, but he's not actually the person who did them. The serial killer who actually committed the murders is on the jury, and it's about that. And I really like trials and law and things like that. I know a lot of people don't really like law thrillers, but I just love law everything. I love law TV shows, movies, because I actually want to study political science and hopefully go to law school, so I'm just really into that kind of thing, and this book just sounds really good. I think Gabby from Gabby Reads read this a year or 2 ago, if I'm correct, and I believe she enjoyed it, and so hopefully Molly and I can read this over the summer. The next book that I'm excited to read this summer is A Love-Hate Thing by Whitney D. Graydson. And so this book is a hate-to-love romance about this troubled boy who gets taken in by this richer black family, and the daughter is really not happy, and they're under the same roof and they live together. And I know it's a hate to love, and it just sounds super cute because hate to love is my favorite trope, and I think them living together is going to provide an interesting situation. The next book that I have is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune, and I've heard a good bit about this, especially from Riley Marie. She read this book and it's like one of her new favorite books. This is an adult book, but it just has to do with kids. All I know is that like there's like this guy and he goes to an orphanage and they have like powers, I think. It sounds really whimsical and fun. I really want to pick it up and see what it's all about. The next book I really don't know anything about besides that it's an adult fantasy, and that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This book I've had an interest in a long time because of Reagan from Prue's Project. She literally raves about N.K. Jemisin, so I think there's kind of like an apocalyptic type situation in it, and I really want to know what all of the hype is about, and I think I'm really gonna enjoy N.K. Jemisin's work, so this is definitely the first one that I want to pick up. I also really want to read a Stephen King because Stephen King blurred that, but I've actually not read anything by Stephen King. I think I'm going to start with Pet Sematary because I own only 3 Stephen King books. I own Pet Sematary, 11/22/63, and it would definitely not be the one that I go to. At 11/22/63, while I think it's going to be really amazing, it's really big. I think I want to start more with his horror kind of books rather than like his more literary work, which 11/22/63 is. So I think I'm going to start with Pet Sematary. If you have any recommendations of what you think I should start with, you could put them in the comments below. I'll definitely be looking to see, but I've heard Pet Sematary is a good one to start with because it's not too big. I'm just really excited because I know this one is highly raved. My friend in my personal life, her name is Violet, she loves this book. She's a big Stephen King fan and she loves horror, so I really trust her opinion. She definitely persuaded me to pick up this book. I bought this last September, I believe, and I still haven't read it, so I really want to get on that. I also want to read Yes, No, Maybe So by Becky Albertalli and Aisha Saeed. I know it has to do with a political campaign. I think the 2 teenagers that fall in love work for the political campaign, and as I said, I'm really into politics. That's why Red, White, and Royal Blue, I love it so much because it does have that political aspect. I know some people aren't that big of a fan of it, but I love that aspect in Red, White, and Royal Blue. And the next book that I want to read is also like a thrillery kind of horror novel, and that is Home Before Dark, the new Riley Sager book. I don't know anything about this, but I really enjoyed Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. It wasn't my favorite, but I did really like it. I want to read more of his work. So the next book that I want to read is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I've been wanting to read this book for forever. My dad just got my mom a copy, so I might be reading that. You can never get it from the library, but Michelle Obama is literally an icon, and so I just want to read her book so bad because I think it's going to be good. Everybody loves it, so I'm super excited to read this book. So there's one last book that I want to read this summer, and that is Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I know recently a lot of people read this because the new movie came out with Emma Watson, so I'm not sure exactly when this takes place, but I know it's like a historical book about these sisters, and they come from a poor family, and they're all very different. I really want to read this and watch the movie, and even though it is really thick, it is short and the font is quite big, so I think I could get to this quite quickly. Heard really good things about this, and I don't think I've read a classic that was like for fun besides The Great Gatsby. I read a bit for school, but we mostly read books that like I think are like newer classics, like The Kite Runner, Things Fall Apart, which I hated, by the way. Don't recommend that. So those are all the books that I want to read this summer. I know there's a lot, but like I think I can do it. So make sure to check out my description box for all my resources relating to the Black Lives Matter movement and ways that you can get involved. And if you want to subscribe, you can do that as well. I would love to talk to you guys down in the comments. You can also reach me on Twitter or Instagram. But that is it for now, guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.